Hi, I am Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim, presented by Iravati Research and Communication Center, or IRCC. I have with me Abhijit Iyer-Mitra, a defense economist by training and a well-known security analyst. He is senior fellow at the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies and was coordinator of the National Security Program at ORF. Welcome, Abhijit.
Thank you for having me, Pratinda.
The next thing is about Bangladesh and Myanmar. Now, Myanmar was in trouble since 2021. Bangladesh has joined the list in 2024. How do you look at the emerging security situation on India's east, particularly the Bay of Bengal region?
So, Burma is
And
the one
just
country
to
that I'm
add,
not worried.
And just to add, we all know that Mohammad Yunus, Dr. Yunus administration in Dhaka has released terrorists, and the Islamists are the major gainer of the regime
Yeah.
change. And the West US-led West is extremely hyper over there. I mean, they're very active. The more interesting is, and Hasina said about in May only, that when she was prime minister, that there is a plan is hatched out to create a state covering some portion of Bangladesh and Myanmar and all these things. The What is more, I'm sure you have noticed, the most interesting part of the story is a lot of former American diplomats who had been in that region, including Peter Haas, are glued to the region after ending their diplomatic career. So over to you. What's cooking?
Well, thankfully, nobody takes Peter Haas seriously, including his own government. So we'll ignore that bit. Uh, See, Burma is the one country I'm never worried about because Burma is probably the unsung hero of the diplomatic world. The way they are able to take on countries. Nobody has cracked China the way Burma has. Burma plays China like a fiddle. They know, they anticipate every Chinese move. They are able to invite the Chinese in and suddenly on turn on a dime and kick them out the very next day. They're the only country that has permanently solved their border problem with China. And they did it long back. So their institutional ability to deal with China is something to behold. Every country should learn China studies from the Burmese military. So, Burma, I'm not worried about at all. Zero. Bangladesh, on the other hand, is a different kettle of tea. We all knew that Muhammad Yunus is a stooge. He does not have the political heft or the sort of institutional or public heft to be able to become the leader of a country of 160 million people. We know for a fact that that illegal coup, really, which is what it was entirely Jamaat-e-Islami led because most of the BNP was in jail. And what you're seeing is a product of a quasi Jamaat-e-Islami government with Muhammad Yunus as its mask. Even here, I need to emphasize the Bangladesh army has engineered the government in a way that it is going to lead to severe friction between the BNP, the students, and the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is what the army wants because they don't want these lunatics in power. They realized that they had to, do what they had to do, but they've also instilled a poison pill in it. And, in this, they've learned from the Pakistanis. The Pakistanis are very good at engineering these sort of political fissures and things like that, which lead to, uh, internal fissures, collapsing a government from within. You will see what is happening out here is that Bangladesh is in a deep, deep, deep economic crisis. They were
Exactly.
fudging figures.
Exactly.
Even last year, the one figure that they forgot to fudge, which is, it's a cast iron gauge of if the country is in trouble or not, especially a lower income group country like Bangladesh, is two-wheeler sales. And two-wheeler sales had dropped 21% in 2023. That was the clearest indication that something was very, very wrong.
But that is
And
largely due to the foreign currency crisis.
No, it
don't
is
have
not
money
just a
to.
foreign currency. No. It is not just a foreign currency crisis. It is far more. Because, Bangladesh, what has been happening is because, Awami League is a trade unionist party. They were trying to bring in all these laws where, you have to create workers' collectives, keep them, you have to provide them with pension, this, that, whatever, whatever. They were getting up the ladder of worker compensation higher than the ladder of value add. And see, worker compensation ultimately has to be in sync with value add, or value add, like in China, has to be higher than working compensation. Otherwise, it makes absolutely no sense. How do you make a profit otherwise? You're going to a cheap country like Bangladesh precisely for that arbitrage, labor arbitrage, right?
And that same thing post this regime change, the same thing has come back because you're witnessing how the factories are getting closed simply because workers are demanding more, and they
Workers are
someone will try
demanding
to
more.
place them.
And remember, most of the workers' union were Awami League. So now there is also the thing that Jamaat-e-Islami is doing this to shut down the Awami League workers' unions and things like that. They are basically laying the seeds for a second revolt.
Yeah, there is this big group, Ghazi group. I think around seven of their factories are torched, damaged, demolished, kind of. It's just because they are an Awami, the owner is a Awami League MP.
So and all those workers are out of jobs. So given the number of people in manufacturing in that country, how do you think all of this is going to go down with the Awami League workers? They're about 30% of the population, more. You think they're going to sit quiet for much longer? They'll allow for the revolutionary zeal to fizzle out after about 6, 7 months when economic reality hits.
People are
And
quiet,
then,
but people are not happy. People are
yeah,
quiet.
they're not happy. Well, they may be happy, but their reality check is going to hit them in the next 5 to 6 months. Remember, we had throttled Tata Ceramics and we had throttled Tirupur, the cloth manufacturing center in India, and Pune, in order to help the Bangladeshis with ceramics and cloth. Now those gloves are off, right? So there is no way Bangladesh can compete with India, number one. Number two, we're calling in all the debts. They owe $1 billion to Adani. They owe about $630 million to the Russians. Both of us have called in our debts. The Rupur nuclear power plant, which is their main energy supply, can only function under a trilateral agreement between India, Bangladesh, and Russia. India supplies all the personnel for that, the high-end personnel for that. It's going to take 15, 20 years to train the Bangladeshis to operate it on their own. If we withdraw our personnel, what happens to energy? A nuclear power reactor just can't be run
But
without
that hasn't
supervisors
started
running
as
it.
yet. That hasn't started as yet.
Not See, it's graded. The more Bangladesh
But
misbehaves,
you are
the
right.
more
I
we
mean,
will.
you need Indian expertise. I mean, that is the world. Even UAE and Saudis, they are asking for Indians to manage the power plant,
Yeah.
nuclear power
So
plant.
so 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 this is something we have a lot of leverage on Bangladesh, which Bangladesh either doesn't understand or doesn't seem to care. And mark my words, this is just the first revolution. The second revolution, the old saying, no, revolutions eat their own children.
Hmm.
All these guys are going to meet a very, very sticky end.
Same. My views are same that they have entered into a cycle of anarchy. There will be more and more
Yeah,
such things, and that
yeah.
will keep the growth down. They will be in the low equilibrium for quite some time. But I do know that there is a whole lot of economic leverage that we have right from energy. See, roughly 20% of electricity is supplied by India that goes through the grid. So that is more than the peak deficit. The diesel pipeline we have set up can cater as on debt without any expansion. It can cater 30% of their demand, and with reducing the foreign foreign exchange block by 1.5 months, right?
Right.
So there are lots
Also,
and to for their textiles, for food particularly.
mm,
Okay, you have to depend. That's everything is right, but where I'm a little afraid is because looking at the Pakistan situation. See, economics didn't dated them. They bombed their economics for something else, right? So
mm,
whether this country has those elements in it, That is the fear.
So the difference between Pakistan and Bangladesh is the army, right? There, the army doesn't want to give up power. Here, the army is very comfortable being in a shadow role as long as they are kept happy. We need to understand that difference, number one. Number two, here the army is actually loyal to, and this is something Sheikh Hasina really worked on, because they used to be loyal to the BNP and Khalida Zia. But of late, because everybody who reached 25 in Sheikh Hasina's family used to get married off to an army officer, she has now seen to it that the entire army officer corps is more or less loyal to her. And she has very good relations with the army. Remember, the army chief postponed his speech 3 times so that Sheikh Hasina could evacuate safely from Dhaka.
Yeah.
And he organized a C-130 to carry 7 tons of her personal effects.
Army
It wasn't just her leaving the house. It was all her saris, her furniture, everything that was transported to India. 7 tons, as I understand it. So the huge difference between Pakistan and Bangladesh also, while what you said about Pakistan is true, remember right now, they are left with zero leverage against India, zero engagement with India, zero ability to really inflict any meaningful harm on us. Terrorism, 1 or 2 attacks here and there, of course, that the tail end of every insurgency sees a terrorist attacks, but the insurgencies are over. Khalistan is over, Kashmir is over.
Okay. So you don't expect that 10 trucks of weapon thing to come back in Bangladesh?
They can try, it's not going to succeed.
Okay. Last question. Sheikh Hasina is in India. We don't know whether it is by accident or by design she has been staying. Apparently, she was denied visa by the West and some other countries, whatever. What is your take? Is she an asset to India or a liability?
She's always been an asset to India. And it's not because she's
She
pro-India.
has been, but right now, is she an asset?
No, even now she's an asset. Even now she's an asset, because in the anarchy that is going to ensue in Bangladesh, people will remember how stable things were under Sheikh Hasina. So, this is one of those things where you sort of don't realize the value of the unpolished diamond till you've lost it. Give it about a year, year and a half, 2 years maximum, and you will see Sheikh Hasina's popularity will return in Bangladesh.
That is how, law and order stability does matter. I'm sure Hasina had her problems. Particularly
she had a lot of problems.
Particularly the unilateralism. You didn't fight elections duly. So that was a serious problem, which brought in a lot of things in the party that eroded her political values a lot. But she delivered on certain areas. And right now, I think the biggest mistake that this administration did is by riding on this reset button theory. By doing that, you are completely, removing every bit of history. This is going, and Bangladesh is a country of resilience. It has tremendous resilience. It always bounces back.
Yes. Now, my real worry isn't that Sheikh Hasina is going back. I know she's going back. But I think what we need to understand is the Sheikh Hasina who comes back is going to be much, much more unforgiving than the Sheikh Hasina who left. She was removed in a completely illegal coup. It was a coup. Let's be very clear about it. It was totally illegal. And she has marked every single one. She does not forgive. She does not forget. We see how she treated America for what they did with Mujib. We've seen how she behaves with Pakistan. We see how she treats the Jamaat-e-Islami and everybody who tried to undermine her father. So I think the second round of Sheikh Hasina will be where she becomes a liability for India. She is still an asset for us, but I think the Maybe.
Will
If
she
she
get
goes
another
back,
chance? She is already 79.
that doesn't matter. She's still young, hale, and hearty. She doesn't look 79. See, she looks and behaves like she's 60. So she'll either her or somebody in the family, when they go back, uh, I expect it to get vindictive, and that is when the real tide will turn. The thing is how far we can prevent the Sheikh family from being vindictive and just punish, be very smart with punishments to just people involved in the coup and not get vindictive overall. Because then you start seeing diminishing returns.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you for giving time. You are a busy man.
Thank you so much. This has been long overdue, but thank you. I think this was fun. Well, I thought it was fun.
Okay, thanks.